De-aging actors, nano-tech suits, mechanical tentacles, New York set extensions, complications, Doctor Strange's magnificent powers, explosions, crashes, and a man made of sand. All this required both a high quality and a high quantity of VFX. In contrast to the 2004 Spider-Man 2, this Dr. Octavius's arms were 100% CG. This not only required complex rigging and animation, but for the actor playing him to surf around on different rigs to be lifted up and moved around as he performed. Only problem is, Dr. Oct wouldn't be standing on a platform but rather hanging from his arms. So this meant that his cloak and legs had to be recreated digitally, and in some shots his cloak would snag or his arms needed more movement. So it ended up that the majority of shots of Dr. Oct in the bridge fight scene were actually just the actor's head pasted on a CG body. At least this time they made it look halfway decent.
Cool.
In addition to this, the actor playing Dr. Oct and the actor playing the Green Goblin have both aged a little bit since appearing in the original films almost 20 years ago, and so the actors' faces had to undergo a frame-by-frame de-aging digital facelift. And finally, in some shots during the fight scene, they noticed that the actor's hair performance was a bit naff, with the wrong lighting or looking a bit static, so it too had to be replaced with CG hair. Now, New York's hustling, bustling, ever-changing city has some great visuals, but it's not so great if you want to film there. Early on, filmmakers knew that New York would have to be digitally recreated, as shooting in New York wasn't going to be possible, what with all the headache of closing off areas, time limits, and expensive permits. So Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum was actually a set built in Atlanta, and the rest of the building, all the moving trees, leaves, and cars, as well as this guy here, were CG. And speaking of digital people, the digi-doubles of each Spider-Man were based on digitized versions of the suits that the costume department had come up with. 3 different suits for 3 different Spider-Men, and these were based on the suits from the original films. This was done not only to pay homage to the original film, but to enable the audience to be able to identify each Spider-Man when they were fully suited. This was continued throughout the process in animation. Animators studied the different ways each actor moved, the way they ran, and the hero poses and stances that were specific to them in order to be able to recreate them for each Spider-Man digi-double. However, things constantly changed throughout the filmmaking process, and so adjustments have to be made. One example is when Peter regains the Nano-tech from Doc Ock. His suit becomes a sort of hybrid. This wasn't originally planned during principal photography, and so it ended up being from this part in the Happy's condo sequence, and throughout the rest of the film, Spider-Man's body is 100% CG. Please give us a like if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget the links to the music used in this video are in the video description, and as always, be sure to let us know in the comment section which movie VFX you'd like to see behind next.